Dave.
Hey, Tomo.
What's going on, man?
A big aloha and mahalo, brother. Thank you so much for taking some time for us.
Not a problem. Thanks for having me.
We really appreciate it. And previous experience with the islands. What's the story with you and your connection to Hawaii? How many times have you been here and when?
You know, I've actually only been to Hawaii just one time, I guess it's about 3 or 4 years ago now when we played there the first time. And, Hawaii's great. It's it's one of the most beautiful places in the world, so we're really excited to finally be coming back. We have a partially Hawaiian team. I mean, our keyboard player, Braxton, he's from Hawaii, born and raised, and my guitar tech is also born and raised Hawaiian.
Nice. Give your guitar tech a plug. What's his name?
His name's Freddie Carlton, and our keyboard name is Braxton Olita. And I think we're going to let his band open the show too. So.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And do you happen to know which part of Hawaii they're from?
I know that they're both. Well, I don't know what this means, but they said they're from the Big Island. So.
Oh, that's what it means, Big Island. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, people really appreciate that. The 30 Seconds to Mars has the local connection like that. And you were saying just one trip for yourself when you guys played here. That was in Honolulu. Any memories of that stick out?
Yeah, I mean, I remember it was Pipeline Cafe. We did 2 nights. Both nights were sold out, and you know, we often talk about how insane the crowd was. So we're looking forward to that similar type experience. You know, people seem to be really excited about the show, and you know, that's really all you can ask for when you're coming to play for people. So
absolutely, you guys have
about that. We had a couple of days off there, and Jared, Shannon, myself, Tim, our bass player, Vicky, who is now my wife. She wasn't back then, but now she is. We all rented a sailboat and kind of just went sailing and hired a chef. You know, we just kind of we treated ourselves to a little bit of
luxury,
Epicurean excess.
It sounds like it.
It was great. I mean, the chef was preparing, you know, fresh seafood for us on the boat. I mean, it was just amazing. You know, and they took us around to some pretty beautiful spots. It was great. We're going to have a couple of days there again, so I'm sure that we'll probably set something like that up again.
It sounds like it. Sounds like that's something you definitely should do. You guys have had a strong connection in different international markets, and I'm always curious what you think as an American act. What drives that connection to the audience there?
I'm really not sure. I mean, obviously there's something about the songs, and people just find their own meaning there, and it seems to be a pretty universal type of language that the songs speak, because it really is very global. And I mean, definitely part of it is the fact that we're genuinely, truly interested in our audience. You know, we really are trying to nurture a two-way conversation. You know, some bands, they like to keep the mystery, and they don't want to really have too much input, which is fine. It's one way of doing it, but we really, truly want to share this experience with people in every way, not just in the sense of we put out music, they listen to it. We share the creative process with our audience, and you know, we're quite active on the social media sites with, you know, talking to people and getting to know who our audience really is, and that's been one of the driving forces of 30 Seconds to Mars. It's definitely a community of sorts, you know, and that's got to be part of it. But I mean, ultimately, who knows? It's one of those things. We make music and we perform live, and we love what we do, and I think people probably just respond to that. You know, I remember when I was a kid and I would go to shows, you could always tell the bands and the performers that really lived what they did. You know, you could tell if there was a band, even if you liked their music, but they weren't really super into it. You know, and you know, we're really into what we do, so I think that message gets across.
You've had the pleasure, the good fortune, the privilege, I'm not sure what the right words would be, of getting to connect and have your music come across via the assistance of legendary producer Bob Ezrin. What did you learn from Bob, or what did you think he brought to the table that sort of reinforces his legend status?
Well, Bob Ezrin, he did the first record.
That was before you joined, right?
My time. I joined right after the first record.
Okay, so you never got a chance
Shannon and Jared, they made that album by themselves. But I got to work, with Flood and Steve Lillywhite on This Is War, and before that on Beautiful Lie, we worked with a guy named Josh Abraham. But, Jared and Shannon, as far as Bob Ezrin, obviously the guy, he's made some pretty incredible albums.
Yeah, he is a super legendary producer, and that's right. I forgot that
Steve Lillywhite in their own right. I mean, they've pretty much been responsible for arguably the best records of the last 25 years.
Yeah, totally. You a big U2 fan?
What's that?
Are you a big U2 fan?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm a big U2 fan, Depeche Mode fan, Nine Inch Nails fan. It's like those guys. They've collectively worked on some just monumental records, and it was amazing to get to work with them in the studio because, when you're making a record with people like that who really truly are masters of their trade, it's kind of like going to college. It's like a master's class in recording, and you learn so much from people like that who have such a vast experience with what we do. It's a gift. We were very lucky and blessed that they were willing to work with us and that they were interested and excited. And the result is This Is War. It's a breakthrough record for us, and we always knew that we were working on something special. And if it wasn't for those guys, it wouldn't be what it was today. That's for sure.
It's definitely a collaborative thing. As I wrap it up with you, you have had a musical background that stretches your whole life, playing the violin for a number of years. Where do you see that as having a place in like your musical lineage, if you will, getting you to where you're at now? I
grew up in a very musical family in the sense that everyone played something. And the classical music, my uncle, he's a classical violinist, and he is a conductor, and kind of made his life that path. And I started playing the violin when I was 3 years old. It was, for me, I was kind of born and bred to be a concert violinist. But then I discovered Pantera.
And you and your dad made the guitar yourself.
Pretty much killed that. It was like Pantera, Metallica, Nirvana. Like once all that kind of music started to seep into my consciousness,
right.
Unfortunately, the violin started to go to the back burner a little bit. And my dad was always into the guitar, and he I always had guitars around the house. And so once I started picking up on that instrument, and I felt, I don't know, there's just something that happens when you take an electric guitar,
right,
and you plug it into an amp for the first time, and you kick on that distortion pedal, and the feeling that gives you when you hit that open chord, it's like a religious experience. I guess it either speaks to you or it doesn't, and it was shouting at me. So
something you don't get from the violin. I can totally appreciate.
Don't get me wrong. I still play the violin, and I love it. It's
right.
It's an instrument all on its own, and it's unique. And people that are great at it, they make it sing. And it's a beautiful instrument. I still love it, but it's if I was meant to be a violinist, I would be. I certainly started early enough. So.
No doubt. Hey, when you're in town, I'd love to be able to record a short interview with you if you're willing to do it while you're here. If you have a few days, it would really mean a lot. We're the NPR station. It would reach a lot of people. Should I work out something with your folks? You think you'll have time?
Yeah, I'm going to be there for a couple of days by myself, so I'm happy to do whatever.
Okay.
I think I'm going to be there for a couple of days before the show, so we can do it then.
I will reach out to the cat, Brian, at your label, and we'll make something happen. I appreciate you taking the time for this, Tomo.
Not a problem.
Excellent. I appreciate it. I'll reach out to you. I'll talk to your people. Travel safe when you get here, and thanks for doing this, dude.
Not a problem.
Be safe, Tomo.
All right. Talk to you later.
Aloha.
Bye. Aloha. This is Tomo from 30 Seconds to Mars, and you are tuned in to the only show that matters with Dave Lawrence. Hey, Brother Dave. Have a happy 420.